Hi, and welcome to another edition of The Real Story Behind Your Favorite Christmas Stories. That's what I do here on this channel, is I dive deep into all the Christmas stories, and I break your hearts in telling them that they're all about racist people, and no, I'm kidding. Kidding. I don't do that. I find cool shit sometimes. I replay it. I watch it with you. We're about to do that. Did you know that Rudolph, the story of Rudolph, is not that old? It's like modern times. Let's go. This is Top of the Morning, and you're about to hear the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Why don't we just play it?
Prancer and Vixen. You know what? I bet you know the whole gang, including the most famous reindeer of all, Esteban. Just kidding, Rudolph, of course. His story is the stuff of legend. But like many cultural icons, the story behind the story is often just as interesting. And I'd love to share with you the history of our red-nosed friend, who was born in a time where, if you can relate, things didn't really seem to be going well for anyone. Hi there, I'm Alec Belmore, and you're watching History and Intrigue.
Great channel.
The
Highly
year was
recommend. I'll put it in
1939,
the
and the
links.
past decade was an absolute train wreck for most people. At the height of the Great Depression, more than 1 in 5 adults were unemployed. Shockingly, toddlers were making huge inroads in the job market. Although the late 30s had seen a bit of a bounce back for some folks, the country as a whole wasn't out of the woods yet, and many people were struggling to make ends meet. At the Chicago headquarters of the American retailer Montgomery Ward, a company similar to like a Sears but what Sears used to be, they were getting prepared for the upcoming holiday promotions. Up until that year, the company had hired an outside vendor to produce coloring books that were given away to children visiting their stores around the holiday season. But still reeling from the Depression, they decided to produce their own Christmas-themed book in order to cut back on costs. Enter Robert L. May, a copywriter who, like many folks, was facing some issues of his own. Not only did he have the everyday struggles of the Depression, but his wife was also suffering from cancer, and the medical bills had begun to pile up.
Okay, y'all. So remember, this guy, Robert May, the man who created Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, was in the Depression, okay? And his wife was dealing with cancer, which during the Depression, I think they gave you leeches to cure cancer and iodine. Okay? So stop bitching about what you're going through right now. Are you Robert May working at Montgomery Ward trying to pay your wife's cancer bills? No. You're watching Mike's crazy ass on your phone. Maybe you're on the toilet. Maybe you're cooking with Barbara. Maybe you're with your family, but you're not Robert May. Robert May. And by the way, once again, this isn't a situation where a corporation goes, you know what we're going to do? We need to create a Christmas icon. We need to do it. We're going to put all this money into it, and we're going to fabricate it. We're going to Frankenstein, like what people have tried to do to create these things. No, they happen usually when people's backs are against the wall. They couldn't even hire an outside guy. They're like, look, it's the Great Depression, guys. Yeah, let's go hire a story writer. Hey, Robert, weren't you talking about some bullshit about Rudolph? Weren't you talking about some bullshit? And Robert's like, yeah, my wife's going through cancer right now, dude. Like, come on. Give me a fucking break. You're like, hey, you mind writing the story? Fine, I'll write the story. I got something. Top of the morning to you, Ash. Play that. How do they beat Boston with like 6 guys? Back to the story.
On top of that, he felt unfulfilled. He later recalled, quote, "Here I was, heavily in debt, still grinding out catalog copy. Instead of writing the great American novel as I'd once hoped, I was describing men's white shirts. In the writing of the animal story."
Damn, is that not the truth? I have felt what he has felt when I was dressed as a chef. Look, I am somebody who doesn't like to dress like a fool. I take myself very seriously. So when I was dressed as a chef, selling slicers, because I needed money to support my family. It wasn't the acting gig I thought I would get. It wasn't the comic book. It wasn't Walking Dead that I wanted to be on. It wasn't any of those things. But I remembered that, and it didn't make me give up. So whatever you're going through right now, whatever struggle you're going through right now, just remember, this is the part where you are the seed, you are buried in the dirt, and you have to grow. Don't look at it like a punishment. Don't look at it like you're being held back. No, this is the time you got to figure out. I had to learn. I had to grow. I had to mature. And I was able to get on Walking Dead, and I was able to get on Marvel, and I was able to build my family and my house and all the things I wanted to do. But dressed as a chef in the back of a Kmart trying to sell one slicer to a group of 3 people and they walk away from you halfway through your presentation, trust me, I can feel what that feels like. But Robert May didn't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. If you don't give up, you eliminate 99% of your competition.
Story, as the assignment called for, May tried to find some silver lining in a time where things were admittedly bleak. As for which animal to use, May thought a reindeer made the most sense, and besides, his daughter always loved to see them when they visited the Lincoln Park Zoo. So the story goes, as he was looking out at the thick fog blanketing Lake Michigan, he had the idea for a little reindeer.
Isn't that crazy, though, that there was not a reindeer up until about then? Like, you know what I'm saying? Top of the morning to you, multi. I know that we all know the feeling. We all know the feeling. That's why we're all here together. Top of the morning to you, Bradley. He was like, it could have been a donkey, I guess. I guess we could have had magical donkeys if Robert really sold the story well, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Donkey. But no, he was smart. He said, let's do reindeer.
An outcast who guides Santa's sleigh and saves the holiday from being lost. The outcast part is important and an extremely personal part of May's story. In an interview he gave in 1975, he said of the book, quote, "Rudolph and I were something alike, frail, poorly coordinated. I was never asked to join the school teams." While the story was coming along throughout the year, so too was Mrs. May's cancer. She passed in July 1939. When the boss tried to lighten the load and pass the assignment.
Damn it. So he's in the midst of creating what will be his opus. He's in the midst of creating what will be something almost indescribable, something that carves, that pierces the zeitgeist of the world and stays forever. You know how hard it is to do something like that? And yet he loses his wife. And he's really just not feeling great, you know? Man, it's so fitting. It's so fitting. Usually when you're about to embark on the next great thing, it's when you go through struggle. So if you're going through that struggle right now, man, don't look at it like a punishment. Like I said, there's something right here that I wanted to. Oh yeah. He makes the story about himself. Guys, that's why it's so important to tell your story. It's so important to tell your story because it's your story. And it doesn't matter if it's, oh, well, I was bullied. A lot of people were bullied. No, that's not the case. Your bullying case may be very different. Well, I had a bad mom. I had a bad dad. I had a bad upbringing, whatever. Yeah, but you know what? Yours is different. So Robert saw himself as Rudolph, and he told the story through it. This is very interesting because for a lot of reasons, but the movie I'm writing and making and directing, I didn't realize when I was writing it, it is kind of it's a Western comedy like out there. So obviously it can't be directly about my life, but as I was writing it and creating it, I was like, oh, and when you guys see the movie, it's probably going to come out in 2026. You'll be like, because there is. And so whatever it is that you have in your life that you're struggling with or whatever, that's your story. That's your story. No struggle, no process. David Godkins. Arnott has a lot of David Godkins tattoos on his ass. He loves David Godkins. I saw Arnott's ass one time. David Godkin